Scorpio risings are due for a glow up. That's basically what you hear from a slew of TikTok astrologers, but only a handful are telling you the full story. Are we forgetting that Saturn is in our sixth house, the house of illnesses, the house of servitude, the house of work and menial labor? Saturn is kind of casting a cloud over this stuff. Not to mention, this is Aries. It's the house of action. It's the house of independence and of leadership, boldness, bravery. And Saturn enters this sign bringing insecurity. Not to mention, we have Pluto in our fourth house, the house of the home and the house of our personal security. So think about Jupiter being this expansive energy in the area of our life related to our public image, our career, and that is being opposed by Pluto. And almost imagine that as Jupiter is supporting our growth in some way, Pluto is redefining what it is that makes us feel secure. Pluto might be eliminating some things that we have come to lean on. Because Pluto does this. It doesn't just demand depth and intensity and introspection. It's like a wrecking ball that comes in to get rid of stuff you don't need, to get rid of stuff that you've outgrown. And in doing so, it eliminates a lot of the things that you're used to. This is the house of your mother. So this could be a changing dynamic with your mother. Take, for example, Pluto in the fourth house. I constantly have been having plumbing issues, and I finally had to tear out the whole front yard and replace the pipe that runs from our house down into the sewers. I had to literally tear up the yard, pull out the pipe, and replace it with a new one. This is Pluto energy, demolishing things that lie underground, under the soil. Now, this is a very literal example, but it's something you should expect with Pluto in the fourth house. Again, Pluto is a wrecking ball. It can demolish things. It can find the rot you haven't yet seen, that you haven't identified, and it will force you to identify it, and it will force you to update. Often it does this in a way that's not so literal. It's going to do it in a metaphorical way. Again, what's your relationship with your mother like? What's your relationship with home like? I can foresee a lot of people here who are experiencing a lot of issues at home and who are forced to strike out on their own and kind of pave their own way and figure out, how am I going to establish myself in this world? How am I going to utilize my skills to make a living? This is going to be tricky. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to just be promotions. It's going to be growth that feels uncomfortable. Take me, for example. Jupiter is entering Leo, and I have found myself with a new job. And in this job, I make a lot more money than I ever have. But it's come at the expense of my health. The job is quite demanding. I can imagine in time this will come to negatively impact my health, which is what that Saturn in the sixth house in Aries is kind of warning about. The decline of health, the decline of your body. There's potential for growth at this company. And as a result, I am able to help my parents out more than I ever have before. Again, this changing dynamic between myself and my home, my parents, my roots. But like I said, at the same time, I found myself with issues at home that have cost a lot of money. So it's like, yes, a lot of money is coming in, but then that money is going right out the window because this Pluto in the fourth house has quite physically demolished parts of the home. At the same time, I have come to recognize a lot of unhealthy patterns that I have developed over the course of my life that are directly related to my childhood and to my mother. And learning to grow out of those patterns has been uncomfortable, to say the least. It hasn't been easy. A lot of people are kind of selling this glow up for Scorpios because of Jupiter entering Leo. Try to be realistic about this. Pay your respects to Saturn. Pay your respects to Pluto. Don't just expect abundance. The universe is asking you to do a lot of work right now. Saturn in the sixth house of servitude, this should tell you this is not going to be a completely pleasant experience. If there's growth, there's going to be a lot of decline. You should be prepared for it. And I'm not saying this to manifest anything negative. I'm just saying I've seen this firsthand in my own life, and I think it's something that people need to keep in mind. Where's my Saturn? What is my Saturn doing? We attribute a lot of malice to Saturn, but there's a lot of really good lessons there to keep in mind as this Jupiter transit kind of carries us into more abundance.